Hi everyone, and welcome to the last TFGTV video of 2025. In this video, we will be looking at the data trends in 2025 and more specifically King of the Desert 6. King of the Desert 6 was a fantastic tournament. The open Arabia map generations ensured aggressive builds and strategies that made for one of the most entertaining tournaments in a long time, with one of the best final series. This video will contain King of the Desert 6 and general 2025 S-tier tournament spoilers, so be warned. Kicking off with King of the Desert 6, I was curious to find out which civilizations on the King of the Desert Arabia map were the most banned, most selected, and who had the best performances. In order to do this, I created a quadrant chart which highlights the most feared and most loved civilizations. The average number of bans was 12.6 and the average number of selections was 18.92, and so this is where we will separate our quadrant. In the top left hand corner, we have civs who are more loved and less feared, meaning they have a lower than average number of bans but a higher than average number of picks. In the bottom left, we have civs that are neither loved nor feared, with low ban rates and low selection rates. Then on the top right, we have civs that are both feared and loved, and on the bottom right, we have feared civs who are banned too much to be selected that often. What we can see is that the Khitans and the Mongols are clearly seen as being the most dominant civs on the King of the Desert 6 Arabia generation, and this is reflected in their win rates. In the 6 games the Mongols were played in this tournament, they won all 6 games. In the 7 games the Khitans played, the Khitans won 6 of them, and it's worth noting that 2 of these were also mirror matches. Both the Khitans and Mongols have huge eco bonuses around food, which allows them to produce a lot of scouts and produce them earlier and still have a pretty good castle age time. Given how open the King of the Desert 6 maps were, it is unsurprising how often these civs were banned. It is interesting to see that all 5 of 2025's new civilizations all have an above average ban rate. This could reflect that either players are not quite as comfortable with these new civs, or it could suggest these civs are currently seen as OP in S-tier play at this point in time. It is a common theme for new civs to be OP in the first year of their release until inevitable nerfs bring their win rates down. So maybe this is on the horizon for the 3k civs in the future. When it comes to civs that were played at least 5 times, it was the Mongols and the Bengalis that both achieved 100% win rates. The Bengalis were famously used by the Viper in his quarterfinal series with Sebastian, using the Phosphorus fast castle into Rafa strategy. This was expertly executed by the Viper, showing that these fast castle to unique unit builds can be highly effective at the very top level of the game. The Khitans also achieved an exceptional win rate, and the Magyars also found themselves in the top 5 with 10 out of 15 wins. The open map generation supported heavy feudal play, and so the allure of free forging, cheaper scouts, and some of the best cav archers in the game was too much to pass up and was largely effective. Completing the top 5 was the Malians with 12 out of 19 wins. On the opposite end of the table, the Tatars had an atrocious tournament with just 1 win from 8 games played, whilst the Shu, Wu and Georgians were all heavily banned, but none of them surpassed a 40% win rate. The Khmer were also heavily banned in this tournament, but also fell below a 45% win rate. I was also surprised to see Huns, the quintessential open Arabia civ, win just 4 of their 11 games. This data suggests that there are maybe some civs that are feared a little bit too much, and other civs performed way above player expectations. I also wanted to spend some time on this video doing a retrospective of the year as a whole. There's little value in just going through player performance in King of the Desert 6 from a data perspective, because we can gauge what we need to gauge by tournament performance. Hera had another fantastic showing, but the final against the Viper was not as dominant as we've grown accustomed to. Winchester also put in an excellent performance with a fantastic 4-1 quarterfinal win versus Leary. Sebastian also had a great tournament, pushing the eventual runner-up the Viper to a full 7 games in their quarterfinal after defeating Tato in the round of 16. So who were the top players in S-tier tournaments over the course of 2025? Well, there are two main metrics we can look at here: game wins and series wins. When we look at pure game wins of players who have played at least 20 S-tier tournament games in 2025, we can see some exciting new names in the top 10. Hera dominated as expected with Leary in second, and Vinchester sneaks into the top 3 after his impressive performances reaching the semi-final of King of the Desert 6 and the quarterfinals of Warlords 4. Dark also makes it into the top 5 owing to his top 3 finish in TTL 4 and his round of 16 performance in King of the Desert 6. Sebastian's consistency this year in both King of the Desert 6 and the Ling Yuan Cup also earned him a top 5 spot. If we also look at series wins, we can see some potentially changing trends. The Viper is dangerously close to dropping out of the top 10, winning only 14 of his 25 series in 2025. But his King of the Desert 6 performance versus Hera has given his fans a lot of encouragement that the Viper still has elite level performances to deliver in 2026. The data also suggests that Sebastian is about to break into the top 5 players in the world, with series win rates that are now comparable to Yo and Tato in 2025. When we look at Sebastian's performances versus the top 5 players, which are Hera, Leary, the Viper, Yo and Tato, he is looking very competitive now, and none of these players have found it easy against the young Uruguayan this year. Vinchester may also be back to his best, which could set us up for an exciting and competitive scene in 2026, though he still needs to improve his performances against Hera and the Viper, as we can see from his data against the top 5 this year. Vinchester is also the most improved player this year, increasing his series win rate from 2024 by 33%. The only players who decreased in series win rate percentage this year were the Viper and his good friends Stout and Jordan. Every other player who won at least one series in 2024 improved their series win rate percentage in 2025. In terms of civilizations, these are the most dominant civs by win rate percentage in S-tier tournaments in 2025, based on a minimum of 10 games played. We can see that the most banned civs, the Mongols, Khitans and Chinese, are all at the top, which is unsurprising. But the Berbers also performed well in 2025, winning 10 out of 16 games. More than half of these were on semi-open maps, including Arabia, Lookout and Brookside Battleground. The Dravidians also make it into the top 10 by virtue of the 172 hybrid map games and 43 water map games this year. The Dravidians were played in 51 games in 2025, and 44 of those were on water or hybrid maps. Of the 215 hybrid and water map games in 2025, the Dravidians were played in 20% of them. In terms of maps played in 2025, by virtue of there being a King of the Desert tournament, the vast majority were played on Arabia. Of the 802 S-tier tournament games this year, 276 occurred on Arabia, which is almost 35% of all S-tier tournament games in 2025. The next most common maps this year were 40 games on Cross, 30 games on Rocky Forest, 27 games each on Evacuation, Fortified Clearing and Acropolis, 26 games on Shoals, and 22 on Jungle Swamp. As usual, semi-open and hybrid maps dominate the map pool in S-tier tournaments, with closed, nomadic and water maps being neglected, and chaotic maps barely getting 3% of all S-tier tournament games. As someone who likes variety in tournaments, I would personally like to see a more even spread between different maps and map types in tournaments, but I do also understand tournament organizers have to tread a fine line between keeping players happy and keeping tournaments entertaining. And as long as there are map bans, players are always going to ban the maps they are less familiar with and have had less time to practice. Still though, it would be nice to have a slightly more balanced map pool for tournaments in 2026. Overall, 2025 has been a fantastic year in the AOE2 tournament scene, with new competitors emerging, series upsets, and I'm so glad it ended on a high with a phenomenally entertaining King of the Desert 6 tournament and final. I'm so excited for 2026 and to continue making these videos as I continue to build the database and bring you S-tier tournament content throughout the year. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I hope you all have happy holidays and a fantastic start to 2026, and I'll see you again in the new year.